This video is broken down into two different sectors. One, we're going to be talking about a return, and secondly, we're going to be talking about a debut. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about both, maybe even do a little bit of fantasy booking. This is all what we know hours away from Dynamite. It's very first episode live from Los Angeles. And honestly, it's actually really exciting. I wasn't too sure how excited I would be for Dynamite after Double or Nothing, but truth be told, anytime AEW makes a debut in a new city for the first time, it ends up being a really good episode, and based on what Tony Khan has announced so far, it seems to be very awesome. Now, first things first, I want to talk about Miro, because there is this belief that Miro is going to return tonight. Now, there's two reasons for this. I'm going to give you guys my explanation, and then we will talk about the debut. Number one, CJ Perry, aka Lana, has gone to Twitter and tweeted out, "Suddenly want to go see AEW tonight for some reason." Now, this tweet went out at 5 o'clock. This was just after AEW announced that Johnny Elite, a.k.a. Johnny Mundo, a.k.a. Johnny Game Changer, a.k.a. John Morrison, Johnny Caballero, Johnny Major League. I don't know. At this point, he has a million nicknames. But AEW announced that he signed an open contract to compete against anybody on the AEW roster. And then, of course, CJ Perry, Lana, had posted this tweet right after. So my belief is that Miro is going to be the returning guy that will go against Johnny Elite. The idea here is that Johnny Elite is not signed to AEW, but he can enhance talent. He's a reputable name. It's okay for him to take the loss. Also, there has been rumors for a very long time that Miro was ready for a return, but they wanted to get him on TV after the pay-per-view, which, if this is accurate, then it makes a lot of sense that Miro could very well be returning tonight. And most importantly, let me just make this very clear. Miro has been missed heavily. A lot of people, at least in my comment section, have made it very clear that they want Miro back on their TV. I can't blame them. I feel like once Miro really became a dominant wrestler in AEW, things obviously happened that got him off TV, but I want him back. I think AEW is a better product with Miro on TV. In fact, I would even go as far as saying as the TNT Championship has not been interesting to me since Miro has held the title. I know that's a very, very bold statement, but I do stand by that. I think him and Brody Lee were the best TNT champions in the company history. And, you know, with Miro being gone and coming back, Johnny Mundo, Johnny Elite, it's the perfect opponent. Again, a reputable name. Very similar situation on what I said about Samoa Joe. You want this guy on your TV. You want him to go against somebody, you know, that's trying to make a big splash on TV. And that's exactly what happened for Samoa Joe. He made a big splash. Now Miro coming back, getting a dominant win, not necessarily over some scrub with a terrible record. It means a lot more for Miro versus, you know, maybe JD Drake, who is going up against Wardlow, right? So the idea here is that Miro could very well be the one returning. There is obviously no 1000% confirmation on this, but I want to bring that up, especially because that tweet. And as of right now, that tweet is still up, so you guys can go check it out. Obviously, CJ Perry, Lana is the wife of Miro. If for whatever reason you totally did not know that, now you know. Now, that kind of leads me to the second thing, and that's really that there is this possible debut that could be happening tonight. And a lot of people don't know exactly what to expect. There's a lot of speculation. I know on social media, speculation often means that people are taking it as fact. So I do want to preface this by saying there is no such thing as confirmation that there will be 1000% a debut tonight. There is no 1000% belief that, you know, this will actually be happening. But there has obviously been a lot of talk about MJF because MJF will be given the opportunity to speak to the crowd tonight. And obviously with all of the news surrounding MJF this past weekend, a lot of people are starting to get the impression that this is a work, which is completely fine. Now, for those who are unaware, I made a video yesterday, and I'm going to actually pull this up on the screen as well, because I do find it to be really important. There's a lot of talks about this and what could be happening here. But for those who may have missed it, we made a video on Bray Wyatt returning soon. And we're going to pull this up. As you guys can see, if you go to my channel, we made this video. Bray Wyatt is returning soon. Here's what you need to know. Now, obviously, there's been talks about Bray Wyatt and whether or not he could be joining WWE again or AEW. And my fantasy booking here is that there is this belief that MJF will be written off TV for good. And that's the reason why he's going to be making his presence known. And I'm here fantasy booking this idea that maybe Bray Wyatt could be debuting tonight. Obviously, his streak of tweets that went out yesterday, whether it's WWE or AEW, nobody really knows. But I believe that we have gotten to a point where if MJF is being given the mic and they are going to turn this into a big storyline, whatever it may be, you want to have something big come out of it. And of course, this is the debut episode in LA. Warner Media executives, Discovery, there's a lot of people here. There is this belief that something big is going to happen tonight, and it doesn't end with Miro. If it is, in fact, Bray Wyatt, that would be quite honestly shocking. Nobody has come out and said for sure it's Bray Wyatt. Again, that's why it was very important that I mentioned that this was me fantasy booking. But based on what we know, AEW is really looking at making this episode big. They're really looking at turning this MJF stuff into something massive. Obviously, Tony Khan has made it very clear MJF is with the company until 2024. That's not going to change. So this guy is not leaving the company no matter what people think. As of right now, he's not gone. And what better way than to get people talking and get the executives talking when there's a massive surprise? And my idea is pretty simple. You can pretty much do one thing and one thing only and be successful with it, which would be the idea that Bray Wyatt, maybe MJF is in a wheelchair or whatever it may be, Bray Wyatt just attacks the shit out of him randomly and closes the show. Or you can do it to open the show. I mean, whatever you really want. But the idea would be Bray Wyatt targets MJF. MJF gets away from TV for a couple months. This allows him and AEW to figure things out. I don't know if this is the right idea, but this is just the way I'm fantasy booking it. I think a lot of the attention should have been on Wardlow. The attention was not on Wardlow. Unfortunately, a lot of the attention was on MJF, and that was one of the things where I feel like maybe if this is actually a work like that, it just maybe in hindsight it's not a good idea. But if you're trying to write MJF off TV, give him a live mic, put him in a wheelchair, that type of thing, and then Bray Wyatt takes him out, it makes a lot of sense. But again, we do know that this is going to be a massive episode for AEW. They're already teasing the returns. They're very vague on what's going to happen with MJF. Obviously, a million things can happen. Maybe Karrion Kross can debut. I mean, there's a lot of free agents out there, but we'll see what happens. And as always, I want to hear what you guys think. Obviously, it's fun fantasy booking, especially when things like this could very well happen. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and I'll see you next time.